Hello and welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We're wrapping up 1989 this week by looking back at the movies of 89 that we didn't cover that came out throughout much of that year. I showed you this list before of some movies that I did not get to talk about, some notable films that I found on Wikipedia, and they weren't on Box Office Mojo's website, so I completely forgot about them. We've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 movies here to look at. So I'm going to split this up into 2 episodes. This first episode, we're going to look at the first 8 movies I have on this list. And then for the next episode on Sunday, we'll look at the other 7 movies on this list. And then after that, we'll jump into 1990. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right on into it. Let's start with the first movie that I have here, and that is Bette Davis in Wicked Stepmother. So Wicked Stepmother was notable for being the last film starring Bette Davis, who withdrew from the project after the movie began. She didn't like the fact that there was a lot of problems with the script, she didn't like Cohen's direction, and she didn't like the way she was being photographed. And Larry Cohen, the director of this, claimed that she really had dropped out because of her ill health, and she disputed that claim because she thought it would affect any future roles that she would have gotten. Although she did die about 8 months after this movie came out. She died in October of 89. This came out in February. So, I don't know. Maybe Larry Cohen was onto something. But from the trailer here, there is a lot of potential here. But I don't know. I haven't heard too much about this movie. But from the little bit I've seen here, there is potential for something a little crazy, a little over the top. But I don't know. It has a good cast involved. You got Bette Davis, Barbara Correa, Lionel Stander, Colleen Camp, David Rausch, Tom Bosley, Richard Moll, Seymour Cassell. But you don't really hear a lot of people talk about it. Maybe that's for a good reason. Maybe not. Who knows? But I don't know. Might be something I might check out one day. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which I have seen. And that is Hayao Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky. So Castle in the Sky came out in 1986, originally in Japan. It came to America 3 years later through Streamline Pictures, who did these dubs for anime movies that weren't necessarily great, but they were what we had for the time. They also did another dub of another movie that came out in 1988, which is probably one of the greatest anime movies of all time. But we will get to that one in the next episode, because that also came out in 1989 here in America. But I've seen the other dubs of Castle in the Sky. It's a great movie. It's one of Miyazaki's. It's Miyazaki doing what Miyazaki does best. It's well animated. The voice work is top notch from the dubs that I've seen later on, like the ones from Disney, and then the one that Shout Factory did. And I mean, it's a really good movie. Is it one of Miyazaki's best movies? I don't think it is. I would say like maybe something like Spirited Away would probably be one of Miyazaki's best movies ever made, and we'll get to that one whenever we get to that one in 2002. But Castle in the Sky is a great movie. It's a great movie all around. If you haven't seen Miyazaki's work, you should definitely check that one out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Lost Angels. So the story of Lost Angels is this guy, Tim Doolin, played by Adam Horowitz. He's a troubled youth he's from a broken home in L.A. He's sent to a psychiatric hospital with a doctor played by Donald Sutherland, and he makes a connection with this doctor and a man who has issues of his own. And for this movie, this was actually Hugh Hudson's follow-up film after Revolution 4 years ago in 1985, which was a big disaster for him and Al Pacino. And from what I see here, it doesn't look too bad, honestly. It looks like a decent film. Donald Sutherland's a very good actor. You also got Amy Longcrane in this movie. Adam Horowitz is in this, and it looks like he's doing pretty well here. I mean, it doesn't look like a bad movie, honestly. I don't know why it wasn't mentioned on the Box Office Mojo page. I guess because it didn't do well. Because looking on here on Wikipedia, it only made like $1 million, so it didn't do so well. But I don't know. It looks kind of promising. It might be something I might check out one day. So there's that. That's my thoughts on Lost Angels. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Signs of Life. Well, this movie looks completely boring. I mean, there's not really much there. In fact, I'm looking on the Wikipedia page. You know what the plot for this is? Signs of Life is the story of a Maine man who is losing his bone in his business. Oh no. I mean, it's got a decent cast to it. I mean, Beau Bridges, Vincent D'Onofrio, Georgia Engel, Kathy Bates, Mary Louise Parker. I mean, but that premise does not really say a whole lot about how good this movie could be. I mean, from this trailer, it just looks like a melodramatic movie. Like, it doesn't really look like it has anything to merit, and you can kind of see why it faltered away with time. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. If anyone's seen the movie, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'm the one that's crazy, but yeah, I just don't see it. So that's my thoughts on Sign of Life. Not the best acclaim for it, but it is what I think it is. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is The Rachel Papers. And yes, that is the same Dexter Fletcher who would later go on to direct Bohemian Rhapsody and then later Rocketman. Well, okay, technically he was the second director for Bohemian Rhapsody, but Bryan Singer took the credit on that one. But he did direct Rocketman, and yeah, I had no idea he was an actor before I knew about this movie's existence. But I don't know, it looks like it could be pretty good. I mean, he looks like he's doing a pretty good job as the lead in this movie. You also have Ione Skye, Jonathan Pryce, James Spader, Michael Gambon in this. I don't know. It could be worth a watch. I mean, it does look more interesting than I think a lot of people would have given it credit for. So maybe one day I'll definitely check it out. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. The next movie is Tom Waits in Cold Feet. Boy, Tom Waits looks like he's having the time of his life with this movie, and it makes me kind of want to see it. Like, I'm not even kidding. I really want to see this just for Tom Waits in this movie. I mean, he looks like he's having the time of his life. Like, he was just looking at the script and said, "Okay, I'm going to do whatever I want with this and just go all out." And like I said, he looks like he's having a ton of fun. It makes me really want to see this movie. And very good cast. Keith Carradine, Sally Kirkland, Bill Pullman, Rip Torn, Jeff Bridges. It's a pretty good cast, and like I said, it looks like a ton of fun solely because of what Tom Waits is bringing to this performance that he's playing here. Yeah, it's another movie I might actually get around to checking out one day. If I ever find it at a good price, I can definitely check it out and see if it's any good. I definitely want to see it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Blood Red. Yeah, it's almost never a good sign if a movie has been sitting on a shelf for 3 years and then it finally gets released. No joke. This was filmed in 1986, completed in 1986, but didn't hit theaters until 89, and maybe that's probably why nobody's ever heard of it, and it's probably not that good of a movie, despite a pretty solid cast. Eric Roberts, Giancarlo Gianni, Dennis Hopper, Burt Young, Michael Madsen, but yeah, like I said, anytime a movie has been sitting on a shelf for a long period of time and then they just release it now, there's a good chance that it's not a very good movie. So, yeah, maybe not something I won't check out anytime soon. But let's go ahead and move on to the last movie for this particular episode, A Chorus of Disapproval. If I was to tell you that the same man that directed the Death Wish movies made this movie, would you believe me? Yeah, I probably wouldn't believe me either. I mean, Michael Winner, he was kind of on a bad streak during this time. With the last couple of movies he made. Have you ever seen the movie Parting Shots? I mean, that's a movie that just, you really couldn't tell that that's the movie that movie is directed by the same man that did Death Wish. I mean, that's just, and not in a good way, because Death Wish is a great movie and Parting Shots is not very good. And despite the fact that they have Jeremy Irons and Anthony Hopkins in this does not look too promising. I mean, there are times in here where I did chuckle at the trailer a little bit, but I don't know. Other than that, though, I don't hear a lot of good things about this one. I hear it's mostly kind of bad, but yeah, it's not something I really need to go out and see at some point. So that's my quick thoughts on A Course of Disapproval. Who knows? Maybe I might be wrong on this. Again, let me know in the comments. What do you think? What do you think I'm not giving this movie a fair chance, or what? But that's my thoughts on the trailer for A Course of Disapproval. So with that said, that's going to wrap up this first part of the 89 movies that we didn't get to look at. I have the list right here of films that we still need to look at, including Gandahar, Penn and Teller Get Killed, Chud 2, Bud the Chud, Welcome Home, Limit Up, Stepfather 2, and Akira. So those 7 movies we'll look at on the next episode as we delve into 1990. Yeah, this is the last official video that we're doing of 89, so... And then when we come back on Sunday, we jump into 1990, and then we'll just go from there. And I actually did a calculated schedule of if things go the way they're going right now, we should be able to get to 1991 by the time July comes around, and then 92 by the time September comes around, 93 in November. So it's looking like every other 2 months we're going to be able to get through every week during each year, depending on if the schedule remains the same. We might slow it down a little bit. Something might happen. We might move along faster. So hopefully we can get through these together. But it's definitely looking like it's going to take 2 months every year to do these videos. So thank you guys for watching. And as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist for the entire year of 1989. Check out the previous episode. And when we come back on Sunday, we will jump into 1990. We'll finish off this list here. And then we'll go from there. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a new Movie Stop episode. And then back here on Sunday for the conclusion of this list. So as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a new video. And until then, take care.